Everybody. Happy Easter. I'm so glad to spend the day with you. Man, I hope your Easter's going as good as I hope your house smells as good as mine does right now. Mrs. Texas Paul has been up since I don't know when. She beat me up by at least 2 hours because she had most of Easter prepped. I feel like such a lazy bum. I really do. While I've been in here putting the show together, she's been in there making it happen for the family for Easter. I hope y'all have a wonderful Easter with your families. I hope, and I do. I hope your house smells as good as mine does right now. Between the coffee and Mrs. Texas Paul's cooking, I wish this was smell-o-vision. I really wish it does. Let's dig into it. We've got a lot to talk about today. Good morning, everybody. Well, this is Easter. I want this to be a bit of a happier show. So let's get some of the not so happy stuff out of the way. We have a measles outbreak that we know of, and I just want to talk to everybody about it a little bit. I live in deep East Texas. I do. And in my little county, they have just had 20 cases. They've got 19 of them quarantined, but we've had 20 cases of measles in my little neck of the woods. And the reason I want to caution you, I want you to here, let me pull this up on the map for you so you can actually see. I should have had this up already. I apologize, folks. Stick with me. People don't really realize just how big a state Texas is. I mean, we talk about it all the time, but people don't really realize. Let me change the layout here from topical so you can get a better look at it. Here we go. Let's share it. 1 second. Okay. See this red rectangle right here? That is Gaines County, Texas. It's not quite as far west as El Paso, which you see Ciudad Juarez here. That's where El Paso is. This is El Paso out here in the tip, but it is pretty damn far west in Texas. And to give you some idea, I'm way the hell over here in East Texas. And I'm about as far away from Gaines County as you could say Phoenix, a little bit farther than Phoenix. Almost same distance from Gaines to it is farther from El Paso to where I'm at than it is from El Paso to Los Angeles. So we're talking about an exceptional distance here. And why am I talking about Gaines County? Because Gaines County is where this all started in Texas. This is where the measles outbreak started. Way the hell out there in the middle of no man's. And there are no people in those counties, by the way. I mean, you're talking about there's a county in West Texas where there literally are just no people. I don't even know why it's a county. I don't. But yeah, I mean, I want you to think about the distance that this is traveling. And it's spreading everywhere. And this is why I want to talk about it. Look, let's not be fear mongers. Let's not be afraid. Let's not be over the top about this. Our parents loved us. If you're watching this show, you're vaccinated. You're vaccinated. Good chance you're vaccinated. Your parents loved you. They did. But I just want to remind everybody, one, vaccinations aren't condoms. They're training systems for your immune system. They're training regimens for your immune system. It doesn't mean you can't get infected. It just means that your body will recognize it as a threat and react to it. You won't get as sick. And because you won't get as sick, you won't develop the same viral loads, yada, yada. We talked about all this in COVID. You won't get as many people sick. Folks, measles is not like COVID. Measles is way more contagious. I can't stress that enough. If a person in a house gets measles, everybody gets measles. It is just that contagious. If you've got 10 people in a room and one of them has measles, statistics show 9 out of the 10 people will end up with an active case of measles. So yeah, what I'm saying is you're vaccinated. That's a good thing. It's not going to spread like COVID because so many of our parents loved us and got us vaccinated. That's a good thing. Where it gets dangerous is, here in East Texas, there's a lot of people that were anti-vaxxers that fell into this right wing. It's all about freedom being an anti-vaxxer and all that crazy stupidity. Look, MAGA's stupid, folks. We can't ever forget that we're not talking to people like us. These are genuinely stupid people. And they really have associated being an anti-vaxxer and not vaccinating your children with freedom. The government ain't going to tell us what to do unless, of course, it's, Elon Musk and the government stealing all your data and not telling you what the hell they're doing with it, or, deporting you without due process. All of that the government can do. That's fine because, Trumpy wants to do that. But, vaccines for your own health. Oh, no, that violates our freedom. So, yeah, folks. I live in a very, very rural area. I couldn't hit a person with a rock from my house if I wanted to. Just couldn't. I mean, I literally can go outside on my back patio and pee and nobody sees me. Nobody can see me. I'm not within line of sight of anyone. So yeah, for there to be 20 cases here, to quote Joe Biden, that's a big fucking deal. It really is. And if it's here, you saw how far it traveled. I mean, you're talking about farther than from Gaines County to Phoenix. And it's here. And yes, you can be infected. So let's start taking some precautions. And it's everywhere. Our Canadian friends will tell you it's up in Alberta. It's just spreading around. There's over 800 confirmed cases across the country. And the CDC has told us that they've been horrified. The people actually working on this have been horrified by the fact that every time they interview one of these folks, what they're being told is this isn't the first case. Either they've had a case previously and got it again, which can happen, or somebody in their family had it and, well, they weren't sick enough to go to the hospital, so it didn't get reported. So you can really figure that 800 cases is probably more like 8,000 cases out there. And let's be honest, folks, this is America. Healthcare is expensive. Even if you've got health insurance, which a lot of people don't, healthcare is expensive. And the way we treat our workers, I guarantee you there's going to be a lot of people that get measles that go to work. They're going to be serving your food. They're going to be working on construction sites. Do you think about every kind of job in this country where people are not likely to have health insurance and not likely to seek health care because of the expense. Those people aren't going to report it, and they're going to go to work sick. So yeah, it's time. It is time to take some precautions. Be careful. That's all I'm saying. That's the whole point of what I'm saying here. I love you folks. You're good people. You're intelligent people. You understand. Somebody gets a fever, take a little extra care. Hey, are we dealing with just a fever here? Look, my chest is tight. I've got allergies. My eyes look like shit. I've got swollen eyes. I've got allergies. Every tree out here is freaking fornicating. Oh, I wish I could neuter every damn cedar tree I've got around here, but no, I can't. All the cars are covered in yellow mess. So, I know I've got allergies, but I'm kind of keeping an eye out. And that's all I'm saying, folks, is let's just take a few extra precautions. Let's just take a little extra care. Okay. I know you're vaccinated, and that's a good thing, but that doesn't mean you can't get infected. And especially when we're talking about measles. So yeah, good news is this isn't going to be COVID. It's not. Even with this idiotic Trump regime, this is not going to be COVID. It's not. Our parents loved us. They got us MMRs. But, and this is the last thing I'm going to say on this, if you were born between 62 and 67, the first measles vaccines back then were not effective or not as effective. Let's just say they weren't effective, okay? So if you were born, remember, you're going to get your first vaccination, and they did one vaccination then. If you were born, it's usually about 1 year, you get your first vaccination, and they take you in and make you cry as a baby and give you all your shots. And then you get your second between the ages of 4 and 6. They give you a booster, and then you're good. But if you were born between 62 and 67, just pretend you weren't vaccinated. Just pretend you weren't vaccinated. Just go down and get another vaccine. Now, there is a test called a titer test that they can do. You can ask your doctor if you're an old fucker like me, you can go down and you can get tested to see if you've still got immunity to measles. It's not expensive. It's a blood test. Highly recommend it. Or just get a booster. If your doctor will do it without the titer test, just get a booster. But do it, folks. Do it. All right. Grateful Dad, Austin, Texas, new supporter. Thanks for being here. Measles is all around us here in Texas, yet I do not fear anything meaningful from our dear governor. And I do not hear anything meaningful from our dear governor. No, the Republicans aren't going to respond to this. They're going to pretend like it's not happening. It's up to us. It is up to us. And you know what? If those MAGA fuckers want to dance with Darwin, go ahead. Go ahead. I can't stop you. It's your kids' lives you're playing with. Bald Thanos, one of our regular supporters. Thank you for always being here. For my birthday today, can Mrs. Texas Paul barbecue armadillo for us? Folks, if you have not, there's a thing that my wife makes. They're called armadillo eggs. And I don't know if this is exactly what he's talking about, but oh my God, they are so good. You take a jalapeno, cut the end of it, clean it out, clean the seeds out so there's no bitterness to it. Fill that bad boy with, take cream, put chorizo in a pan, cook chorizo sausage. Spicier the better. Then you take a block of cream cheese while the pan's still warm, not hot. You don't want to melt the cream cheese down to nothing. You just want it to get soft enough to mix. And you mix that chorizo and that cream cheese together and put it in a piping bag and you shoot it inside those jalapenos. Then you take bacon and you wrap that whole jalapeno up, and then you put it on the smoker. Put it in the oven it's just as good out of the oven. I like to put mine in the smoker for a little extra smoke flavor on it. Oh, my mouth is just watering just thinking about it. These are the best things you've ever had in your life. And even if you don't like spicy, I'm telling you, some sort of magic happens with that cream cheese and the jalapeno and the capsaicin from the jalapeno, when you let it bubble up inside there, they're not that spicy. I mean, they are. I mean, it's a jalapeno, for Christ's sake. It's going to be a little spicy. But oh my God, my mouth is just watering thinking about it. Whew. You got to try these. We call them armadillo eggs, but they're really good. Michael Z, like me, if you were an MMR vaxxed as a kid, get tested for effectiveness levels. If it's low or non-existent, get another MMR booster, like Texas Paul says. Amen, brother. Amen, Michael. Amen. Thank you for being here. Thanks for always supporting the show. Dark NS 1231, new supporter. Thank you. Have you seen the photos and videos out of Gaza? It's horrific. Yes, I have. It is horrific. It is. I'm the first to tell you, it's a damn war crime. I think Netanyahu should be tried as a war criminal. I do. Amy Manuel, thank you for always being here, Amy. Born in 64. Get it checked out. Get it checked out. Man, you can get the measles booster at your, Costco pharmacy, Sam's Club pharmacy, CVS. This isn't a hard one. Let's do what we know to do, folks. Let's do what we know to do, because even if measles doesn't kill you, it can cause deafness. It can cause blindness. It causes permanent. I mean, it's no joke disease. There's a reason we moved heaven and earth to end this. There's a reason. Walgreens, there you go. There's our people. There's our people. Well, look, I'm going to go a little negative, not real negative, but a little negative with the next story, and it is about Trump. But no, you're not going to have to see Trump. This is bullshit. This is crap. I look forward to having Easter service early tomorrow morning at the White House. This is a joke. And I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I am, because I celebrate Easter. You're like, Paul, you're not a Christian. What are you doing? I celebrate Easter. I do. And I celebrate with my Christian friends and family. I have Christian family. That's what you do. Religious holidays are part of our nation's identity. It doesn't mean you've got to be a jerk or anything like that. Celebrate with people. Celebrate with your Jewish friends on their Jewish holidays. Celebrate with your Muslim friends on their Muslim holidays. You're not barred from it. It's a good thing, but what Donald Trump just said there was crap. He is not a good person. And I've said it before. You cannot be a Trump Christian and a good Christian. You just cannot. Because Trump this isn't about Easter. This isn't about celebrating with your Christian friends. And this is the corporatization, of Easter. Meta and Amazon and all of his massive Silicon Valley donors. You notice you don't see a whole lot of Elon there. They're trying to hide Elon because Elon let the cat out of the bag about being a Nazi. Mr. Nazi salute guy. Yeah. You don't hear anything about Elon being there. Don't see his face, nothing. But they are absolutely, he is sitting there sucking up money. He's blackmailing everybody. And they're just bending the knee. These are not leaders. Jordan, the rapist in chief should also be tried as a war criminal. I hear you, brother. I do. Happy Easter to you too, George. I appreciate you being here. New supporter. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the community. Today's show is going to be a little bit calmer, a little bit more upbeat. It is Easter, man. It is Easter. But I'm telling you, what normally happens if you're a leader is you go to the National Cathedral on Easter and you take part in the Holy Eucharist. Even if it isn't your it doesn't matter. You go. When I say it doesn't matter if it's your personal beliefs or not. You're the leader of the country. This is a major religious holiday in your country. You participate if you are the leader. You know, we're not, you know, we're not the kind of country where we just claim one over the other or anything like. You don't do that. And what our leadership does matters. It matters. What people see matters. Iconography matters. And when they see this whole corporatization, because it's going to be all over the news today, because Meta and Amazon want it. They're that dumb. They want this all over the news. They do. So it is going to be all over the news that they're sponsoring the Easter egg roll and the corporate. What we see matters. Kathy Young, a little extra this month, lots of BOGOs and dispensary. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you for supporting the show. I appreciate you folks. I really do. But iconography matters. This is St. George's Cathedral. Pardon me, St. George's Chapel. This is on the grounds of Windsor Castle. You may remember it from the Queen's funeral. This is where they held the Queen's funeral. And it's a beautiful place. It is a beautiful. I'm not Anglican. I'm not. You know me, I'm not Christian, but it doesn't matter. When you are the leader of your country, you show up. You show up. Iconography matters. It matters. And we just don't have a leader that will do that. He's selfish, self-absorbed. This is his last hurrah. He's out of here. He's out of here. He's going to blackmail and make it all about him and as much money as he can gather. That's what he's going to do. And we are the worst off for it. We are. Because folks, we're a herd species. Humans do not do well in isolation. We are a herd species. And it's really weird because if you take a look at the way humans react, what we find most appealing, it's usually solitude. If you take a look at like travel brochures, whenever they show a place that they're trying to encourage you to go, there are no people. They'll show you a picture of a beach with no one on it. But when you get there, it will be beach chairs and people for as far as the eye can see. But when they show you, or they show you a hotel, it's a hot tub and a pool with no one in it. We're really weird that way. The most beautiful things, the most appealing things just don't have people in them. And I don't understand. Maybe somebody's, with a a background in psychology or sociology, or somebody can explain that one to me, because it's just the way it works. Why is it always that way? Why wouldn't, when you see like a beach brochure or something from Sandals, the most you'll see is two beautiful people and that's it, and then everything else is empty? Which is not what it's going to be like when you get there. You may have a little villa out on the water with a glass window that you can look down into the water, all that other good stuff. But when you get there, the next little villa over out on the water is going to have people in it. You're going to hear them diving in and swimming. I don't know. I'm getting off on a tangent, getting out in the weeds. But yeah. This is another one. I want to get this over with. Putin unilaterally declares a ceasefire for Easter. Says, we're going to have a ceasefire for Easter. Volodymyr Zelensky says, great idea. You do it, I'll do it. 100%. So Putin declares a ceasefire and then immediately breaks it. Immediately. Not only did they hurl a ton of cruise missiles into Ukraine in the hours leading up to Easter, in the wee hours of the morning right before the clock turned over to Easter, but they never stopped their artillery. Kind of hard to claim that you're having a ceasefire when your artillery is still firing on enemy troops. I mean, this is the kind of thing, these are the kind of people they are. You know, if you're out there and you're a good Christian, I mean, what does that tell you about what Putin is? What does the way Trump is acting tell you about what these people are? I mean, when you go and you tell somebody, look, we're going to have a ceasefire, but while we're supposed to be having a ceasefire, I am going to double down on artillery on the areas that I really want to take. What does that say about you? I mean, you really can't do one holy day? Really? That tells you exactly what we're dealing with and what to expect out of these people. Bluebird, watching you always gives me a glimpse of hope that the U.S. is not yet lost. Greetings from Germany. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. My people, my people. You know, I would love to have a discussion one day with our European audience. We Americans, we claim our European and Middle Eastern and Asian heritage. When we talk about who we are, when they say, what is your background? What are you? We don't say American. We say, well, I'm German, or I'm Norwegian, or my family's Irish, or Medusa, thanks for supporting the show. I appreciate it. And I've noticed that you folks that are like from Germany and from Norway and from Ireland are like, no, you're not. No, you're not. I would love to have a discussion on that subject. I really would love to just have a whole discussion on that subject sometime, because um, it's really kind of funny the way we do that. But we're mutts. We've always felt that way. We're a nation of immigrants. We are a nation that does not have one national identity. So we hold on to our identities, Italian Americans and Mexican Americans, and we do. We hold on to it. You'll see the American flag and then another flag underneath it. That's just the way it works. Dick Gray, thank you for being here. Thanks for supporting the show, man. $20 is a lot of money, man. Happy Easter to you too, Vincent. Thanks for always being here, friend. I appreciate you. Denise Parrish, not religious, but time to rise up. Yeah, that's the way it is in this country, man. You don't have to be. But we can still love and respect each other. So we do have some good things going on. We do. The Supreme Court just punched Trump in the mouth. Just punched Trump in the mouth. And I love it. I love it. Supreme Court blocks deportations of Venezuelans held in northern Texas under the 18th century wartime law. They were trying to ship out another plane load, and the Supreme Court, let me tell you, came in the middle of the damn night, and in a 7-2 decision, said, no, stop this shit. And I got to tell you, just how pinkily we're all immigrants on stolen land. That is actually a true statement about everyone. Unless you live in Central Africa, and now we're thinking that maybe there was a cave in Asia as well, that we may have been two species that joined together. That's one theory. I'm not, don't, I can hear the keys clicking. Don't email me about that. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying, unless your family is from Central Africa and never moved, you're standing on stolen land. I don't care where you are. I don't care where you are. If you're like my people were Norse. They're from Norway and Germany. Yeah, the people that settled there came from Iran. They moved from Iran. If you're Finnish, your people are Hungarian. That historically, if you go back way back in here, they moved up there. I mean, it's all stolen land. Anyways, I don't want to get off on a tangent. We could have a whole show about that. Sharon Reddy, 400 years on this continent, and my DNA is 80% English and Scott. Even our genes are aggressive. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That is funny. Kit B08. I'm not religious, but happy Easter anyways. Celebrate for people, folks. Do that. When someone is having, when someone is having their religious holiday, it's meaningful to them. Their hearts are being touched that day. Celebrate with them. George Allen, love you in this community. Don't forget pencil and paper, Texas Paul, take notes. I appreciate you, brother. I really do. I really do. Yes, exactly. That's why the thumbnail says, suck it, Sam and Clarence. Alito and Thomas were the two and that's where I was going with that. Back on subject. Thanks for keeping me on subject. This is a big deal. I was watching Ali Velshi the other day. I like Ali Velshi. I do. Don't always agree with him, but I like him. But he had Gary Kasparov on there. And if you don't know who Gary Kasparov is, you're missing out. He is a really good person. He was a national chess champion. The man is brilliant. And he's also a anti-Putin Russian. You could call him a dissident. But he has dedicated his life to defending democracy. And he lived through Putin's ascension to power. And he was recounting it. And man, you can tell exactly where they got the Project 2025 game plan from. He listed event to go back, do a Google search. You can stream stuff now. This is the beautiful part about streaming. You can go back to Ali Velshi's show and his interview with Gary Kasparov. You can find it online and watch this. He talked about real events that happened in Russia in Putin's fascist takeover. And they mirrored exactly everything Trump has been trying to do. And what scared the living shit out of me, I actually didn't get any sleep that night, was the next thing on the list was Putin went after people like me and my family. So yeah, to see, and I mean that, folks, that was the next thing on the list is people like me suddenly started falling out of windows. That was the next thing that happened in Putin's fascist takeover. That's, and when you watch item for item, everything Trump has tried to do, and he's failing. He is failing. Putin succeeded. Trump is failing. But you watch each item, and then you get to step number 5, which is eliminate people like me. And that's what Putin did. That's where we're at. That's the next step. And it's scary as hell. It really is. It's scary as hell. Rick Wilson was talking about that the other day too. I mean, we're all saying it. We're next. Because historically, the pattern they're following, yeah, we're next. But seeing things like this with the Supreme Court did, whew, man, that is everything. That is everything. Marcia Klepper, I'm going to talk about you in a minute, by the way. I hope you don't mind. Happy Easter to those who celebrate, and happy today to those who don't. Marcia, thank you for always being here. I appreciate you. Michael Z, I'm secular, but highly respect people of faith that do not judge others. And by the way, happy Easter, happy Passover. Devil of Dallas, thank you for always being here, man. Read Darkness at Dawn about Putin and the mob. Yeah. Did a deal with Semyon Mogilevich. I had a grifter who thought he had a really good angle because he knew about Semyon Mogilevich. Thought, and that's what he uses, bullshit thing that he uses to dazzle people, to talk about how smart he is. He trying to get me to push his agenda and shit like that. He was nothing but a grifter. But yeah, I know all about Semyon Mogilevich, who he is, what prison he was in. Yeah. And Putin's deal with the devil. And Semyon Mogilevich was the fucking devil. He was. Anthony Saints, hey Texas Paul, thank you for bringing the truth to light. Hey, that's my job, man. That's what y'all are. That's what your donations are going to do, so I can do this full time. But yeah, let's talk about the Supreme Court for a minute and how important this was. First of all, the Supreme Court did this in the middle of the night. This was not bankers' hours. So yeah, they've kind of woken up because they're the one on the list right now. You know, we're talking about all the different steps of Putin's takeover, destroying the judiciary's independence. That's the step we're on. And the Supreme Court said, we're not having it. I love you people so much. Joe Delberta, thank you for being here, my friend. Thank you for being here. 1 a.m. Yeah. The fact that you people know that just gives me hope. It really gives me hope. It really does, Joe. Thanks for being here, man. Kate Marylight, thank you for the sanity. Can't stop the brain from turning sometimes. Yeah, I was up all night. I really was. I mean, it's huge that they did this. They got in the middle of the night in a 7-2 decision. They put a hold on these deportations. And more than that, they said, look, you have got to give these people due process. This stuff of just saying, you're a gang member, put them on a plane and fly them out is over. This was a huge decision. This was John Roberts, who doesn't want to be doing this, actually standing up and realizing, yeah, we have to, or this is over. This is one of those red lines that I keep telling you about. If they had interfered with the special elections, or they had interfered, or if they interfere with the midterms, that's a red line. That means the fight is on. That means we're done with democracy and we go to the point of killing each other. That's what that means. This is another one of those red lines. We will either have a constitution and a country, or we don't. This is that clear. You have to follow this. And the Supreme Court, John Roberts, is bending over backwards to try not to interfere with the blessed executive. But he's found it necessary. Necessary enough that they would get together in the middle of the night to say, stop. You will stop. And I have to tell you, that makes me feel better. That is something that we can hold on to. The fact that what they need to cave, what they need to destroy, is not allowing it. So we have to watch this very closely going forward to see what the administration does. Because we really are at that point where it's either they obey or they defy. And if they defy, again, that's the red line. Margaret Long, that's where Trump got it. Yeah, absolutely. He's absolutely following Putin's plan. Kurt Aiken, the difference between Putin's Russia and the USA in terms of disappearing people is 1 billion or so guns. Absolutely. Absolutely. This will not be Russia. And we're seeing it, folks. We're seeing what we need to see. We're seeing the institutions stand up. We're seeing Elon Musk run and hide. The oligarchs, Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, has to go run and hide because his businesses are being destroyed. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. His businesses are being destroyed. He does not have the power to force his will on us. Don Dorff, when the Supreme Court works in the middle of the night, shit is real. Happy to give my weekly tuition. Thanks, Texas Paul, for what you do. Happy Easter to all that celebrate. Amen. So are you understanding the importance of this? Are you getting the importance of this? This really is the Supreme Court and two members, Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito, who both must go. Near the end of the Trump regime, they're going to resign. They're going to retire. Pardon me, I said resign. They're going to retire, and they're going to allow the Republicans to try to push through two more replacements. If the midterms go the way I planned, they may do it sooner than that. They may do it before January 3rd, 2027, when the new Congress is seated. They may try to do it under this Republican-controlled Congress because they're going to try to replace themselves with two younger versions of themselves because they are both older than dirt. And the Republicans will not hold power. After this, the Republicans will not hold power for 20 years. People have seen, they tipped, they showed their hand. They showed us what they are. And Alito and Clarence Thomas both said, we have a king. In that 7-2 decision, Alito whined like a little bitch. How dare we interfere? You need to keep that in mind. We are not safe. We're winning. We have taken the attack and we are beating it back. We're winning, but we're not safe. We're not safe because other members of the Supreme Court want to do what Thomas and Alito are doing. They want to. They want. And when I say that, I want you to imagine this. People are like, Texas Paul, you need to run for president. So let's have a little imagination game, if you will. I'm president. And I'm doing the kind of things that Trump is doing now. Do you think Alito and Thomas still believe in the unitary executive? Do you think they still will argue that I have that power? No, of course not. Of course not. The moment we Democrats take power back, they are suddenly going to believe in the Republic. You're going to hear it from every Republican everywhere. Republic, 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 Republic. The same people arguing that Trump is a king and he can, without due process, shred your rights, stick you on a plane and send you off to another country, will be screaming over and over again, Republic, due process, Republic. Let that soak in. This is who they are. They have no morals. There is no backbone to it. But we're winning. We are. We are winning. Love your historical perspectives. Thank you, George. I appreciate you. This is going on, and you're going to see it. You're going to see it, and it's going to look like a negative thing, but I'm going to tell you why it's not. We have to deal with the reality of what we're dealing with. This is an anti-science administration, and they are destroying science. And we've talked about it before. You cannot cut a study off midstream and everything's okay. You lose all of that data. You have to start over with new subjects. They are anti-science. And people with the kind of education that actually do these studies have options. They're not stuck anywhere. They can sell for a good amount of money their skills anywhere in the world. And right now, our European friends, and this is why I say God love them for doing it, our European friends are overtly and openly reaching into our universities and inviting, come do your studies here. We will fund you. We will give you jobs. We will help you find homes. We will make this as easy as humanly possible because we believe in science. We believe in studies. And while as an American, and our European audience, I know you've got to understand this. I'm an American. I hate that this is happening to my country. I do. I hate that this is happening to my country. But I'm also a human being, and I really care that the science continues. And I'm grateful to you, and I'm grateful to your leadership that you are sending us the message that the science will continue, because we here in the United States will be the beneficiaries of it. Even if we're jackasses that don't pay for it, that don't participate in it, your discoveries will benefit us as well. And I'm grateful for that. This anti-science administration can't stop the science. Deborah Ann, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Thank you for supporting the show. Catherine, happy Easter to you, Catherine. Thank you for being here all the time. Do you think the Trumpers will wake up if they come for guns? They're never coming for guns. They're never coming for guns. That they have primed people for decades to kill people that come for your guns. They're never coming for the guns. Rich, thanks for recharging our batteries. Thanks for being here. And Catherine, to answer your question more directly, some would, some wouldn't. That's how cults work. A big chunk of the cult would turn around and argue why it's a good thing. That's how cults work. That's why I keep telling people, please do not ever count on eliminating MAGA or eliminating this extremism. We have to constantly be aware that this extremism exists and is not going away because it is a cult. Until the cult leader dies, no. And I'm not talking about violence toward Trump. I'm not saying that, because JD Vance is worse, but he's not Trump. He does not have the mystic control over he's not the he's not the Pied Piper of the stupids. He's not the stupid whisperer that Trump is. Wow, Melva Harper. Thank you. Thank you for being here. That is a hell of a donation. And on that line, Uncle Russ, I appreciate you, my friend. I got your donation and I'm truly grateful. Thank you. Melva, wow. Thank you. I'm speechless, and that's rare for me. Uncle Fatty, Red Hat Challenge. Ask every Christo-fascist to quote a red letter verses to say out loud one thing Trump's ever done wrong. They can't do it. That's true. That's how cults work. They cannot. They did. Their entire existence is about Trump good. UTDS, Trump good. Louis Kilgo, thank you for being here, my friend. The president has received immunity for official acts when all moral options have failed to secure the country's interest, never for using the office for personal gain. Hasn't that been the understanding for generations? Yes, but the Republicans will not impeach, and the Supreme Court has said that is the only option, is impeachment. So we must do what we have to do in the midterms. Great point, my friend. Thank you. Red Freckles, Mr. Paul, sorry to change the subject, but the SAVE Act. If I go to voter and I can't, I'm afraid my kids will have to bail me out that day. Yeah, I know. I make that joke about having bail money all the time. It's too much. Your thoughts? We're going to talk about that as an entire segment on the show. So I'm not going to get too deep on the weeds about the SAVE Act. I am waiting for smarter people than me to finish digesting it, because I don't want to miss anything about it. The worst thing about it, folks, is the SAVE Act is going to force um, women who are married that have taken their husband's names to prove that they are still the woman that was born. You're going to have to prove, you're going to have to both show your marriage license where you changed your name from your maiden name to your married name, and you're going to have to show your birth certificate with your maiden name on it. Imagine those complications. Imagine all the people out there that are common law married. I mean, there's a lot of wrinkles in this. This is a mess, and we know why they're doing it. We do. We know why they're doing it. George Allen, RFK Jr., what a dope. Amen, brother. Amen. But yeah, we're going to talk more about the SAVE Act and more about it and how it specifically affects different people. There's a lot to talk about there. And I would really like to hear more from people that are versed 100% in not just lawyers, but constitutional law. Because from what I'm understanding, there's nothing constitutional about this. But again, politically, it's not a good look. It really does excite their base because this whole, it's the white grievance thing. If they lose, they were cheated. They never lose because they're poor decisions, because they're bad people, because people don't like them. It's always they were cheated. Andrew Ordonez, thank you for being here, my friend. If Trump decides that you are to rot in a foreign prison, then that is his right, and you have no rights. We're not even 100 days into the regime, and we're faced with this horror. Yeah, this is exactly what they're trying to say. Well said. Well said. This is exactly what they're trying to say. That if he just decides, his people can scoop you up and take you to prison. And they don't have to show their work. They don't have to prove anything. They can hold up a doctored picture of one of your tattoos and say, that's it. That's enough. It's insane. Putin did this. Putin did this exact thing. They're following his game plan step by step. Jason Crow, thank you, Texas Paul, for all you do. Thank you for being here. And I mean that. Thank you, folks, for being here. It's important that we keep this community tight and growing. It is. It's important that sane voices that make sense and have a sense of decency keep speaking and keep putting it out there. Every time I promote the show, you're what I promote. Come join the live chat. It is the best community everywhere. I'm telling you, people, you are what's important. Warren Benson, Trump's superpower is his media savvy and control over the messaging. Vance has none of that. Amen. Thanks, Texas Paul, for doing the show and educating all of us. Yeah, that really is it, is that he understands that the media, the news media, is no longer about the news. You remember Bat Boy? I was joking about this the other day. Y'all remember Bat Boy? Some of y'all are old enough. Some of y'all, I'm going to wait for the answer to that question. Do y'all remember who Bat Boy is? A matter of fact, I'm going to look up a picture. Pavlon 01, he is not immune from us. Hello from Phoenix and Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is a beautiful place, my friend. So is Phoenix, by the way. There are no pictures you have seen of the desert that do it justice. There just aren't. The ID stuff is happening in Arizona now. Yeah. They're pushing it everywhere. Get a passport while you can, ladies. Amen. This is Bat Boy. I'm going to pull up y'all deserve to see this. Y'all have to remember seeing this at the grocery store checkout. Y'all have to remember this. This was always at the grocery store checkout. Always. I mean, for what, 15 years? This was out there? Donald Trump understands the people that read shit like this. He does. That's all he has. He can't run a business. He has no ethics, no morals. He's not a leader. He's weak, he's stupid, but he understands those kind of people. He understands grifting. So does Elon Musk. So does Elon Musk. Elon Musk goes out there and promises the most over the top shit, and people just eat it up. They eat it up. There's a whole segment of our society that we have to be aware of that absolutely believe wrestling is real. There are people out there. I just want to. Oregon wine lady Vance was lectured by the Vatican on compassion. Amen. That happened. That happened. But the Pope didn't meet him. Actually, they did meet. They did meet, but he didn't get his original audience. The Pope made him come back. What she's talking about here is J.D. Vance wanted an Easter photo op. When he thought he would show up and the Pope would just greet him and this, that, and the other. And that is not what happened. The Pope made him sit with one of his bishops and take a lecture on humanity and decency and then sent him away. And then he allowed him to come back for a tea. Yeah, it's like listening to Neil deGrasse Tyson talk about flat earthers. I actually watched a video yesterday with Neil deGrasse Tyson who was talking about a person who is a personal friend of his who does not believe that the moon landing was real. And Neil deGrasse Tyson said, look, we just had a probe do a close pass of the moon, and they have images of the lander. You can see the rover tracks. You can see the flag. You can see the, and his friend responded to him, NASA could have faked that. To which Neil deGrasse Tyson said, okay, we're done. You just don't want to be convinced. Trump knows these people. That's the only thing he has. And the Republican Party is they have zeroed in on, you remember, government bad, government's bad. And then they throw a bunch of conspiracy theories and bullshit out there. 150-year-olds getting in Social Security payments. That's fraud. No, it's not. It's you don't understand COBOL. That's all it is. But they say it. The big one today, because remember, this is a fight over due process, the rule of law. If Abrego Garcia gets his due process, fantastic. I don't know the man personally, but he represents due process. So what is the Trump administration doing? They're holding a fake picture of his hand with a doctored tattoo. Why? Bat boy. Bat boy. They know that these people, there's an entire subset of our society that don't question. I cannot tell you, every time I post something, I get people, show me. I posted about the fact that Abrego Garcia, the person that named him as a gang member, was a disgraced cop that was fired and prosecuted, and a liar. Huge number of people, source. I need a source for this. And they weren't right wingers. It was the people on the left. They were like, show your work. There's a guy by the name of Ivan Mendez. You know what? I'll look it up for you. I'll show you. I'll show you. Hold on. There you go. Showing my work. Yeah, he's a convicted criminal and a liar. That is who they used as a sort. This is why they don't want him to have due process, because then they have to present to a judge in court that the person saying that Camar Abrego Garcia is an MS-13 gang member is actually a disgraced, discredited cop whose testimony on the stand is worthless. But his people, they're the Bat Boy people. They're the ones, the WWE wrestling people, the flat earthers, they want to hear that it's real. So they'll accept it. And Trump knows this. Don Huber, dogwoods blooming for Easter in the secular Ozarks. Man, they're beautiful here too. Folks, I have to tell you, people are like, how can you live in Texas? And I say, anybody that asks me that question has never seen the azaleas and the dogwoods bloom. It is beautiful, beautiful here. But you get what I'm saying though, folks? That's the only thing that Trump understands, and the Republicans do too. And look, I'm not attacking Christians. You know me. I got no problem with a decent, real Christian. But the churches are full of the conspiracy theory nutters. And they knew that. That's why the Republicans went after him. You know, the church used to not have a problem with abortion. They didn't. They didn't. Until the Republican Party went after it. And they dumped money into the churches. And then the church changed its stance. So yeah, there's a lot of people. Exactly, Evelyn. They would just make shit up. Exactly what they did to Hunter Biden. They would just make shit up, say it to their base, and their base would just, that was it. That was enough. And we would sit there and say, okay, this is why that's not true. Here's the factual stuff. Here's the sources. Go look for yourself. And it doesn't matter because Bat Boy is real. Bat Boy is real. Devil does. Opus Dei is the forced birth brain trust. You know, Opus Dei didn't oppose. Opus Dei did not oppose abortion. They didn't. This all happened with Ralph Reed. This is a global thing. Billionaires said, look, we want our Republican Party that will do anything. They will bend over and grab the ankles for anything that we want to stick in them. They will. So what can we do? And they did the whole anti-abortion, anti-LGBTQ plus thing. They funded it. That's why I keep telling you, folks, know who your enemy is. It's the broligarchs. It's the broligarchs. The churches, they're just like, oh, money? Okay. Well, we suddenly don't like abortion. And I guarantee you, it's the left that will question what I'm telling you here, not the right. They don't question shit. So a little bit of good news. I have been watching. I told you Ahmad al-Shara, the new leader of Syria. I told you I was cautiously optimistic about him. He appears to be leading in the same, just to use as a historic example, he appears to be leading in the same mold, same footprint as Salahuddin. He is not cracking down. He's not one of the extremists that is cracking down for the extremists within the Muslim community, of which he is a part of. His organization is very extreme, but he is not so far forcing that on Syria. And I've told you, he's very charismatic, and he appears to be, again, I am very cautiously optimistic, um, but he appears to be making all of the steps. There's a lot of bad blood between Iraq and Syria, going back to Bashar al-Assad and his leadership. He is reaching out to everyone around him. Um, and I told you, I really was afraid for his life. Is the only way I can put it, because there are so many. Herding cats doesn't even begin to explain, like here with this headline: Iraqi and Syrian leaders meet in Qatar, marking a significant first encounter. There's extreme opposition in Iraq and extreme opposition in Syria, part of his own coalition, that do not want peace with Iraq. And the Iraqis do not want peace with Syria. The Iraqis supported the Syrian army. Yeah, I mean, it was a mess. It was a mess. But vengeance doesn't seem to be on his agenda. And I want you to just dream for a second, because right now that's all it really is. And yeah, Tim Harrigan, there is generational hatred. Absolutely. Well said. And he does not seem to be bending the knee to any of it. Helen, thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting the show. I appreciate you. And it's a good thing for us. You know, I've told you, we've had a strong military presence in Syria. We've had bases in Syria. We're now closing some of our bases because we were there to defend the Kurds and the Kurdish people. The Kurds fought alongside Ahmed al-Shara, and we were concerned that whoever took power would do what they always do to the Kurds, which is use them to fight and then butcher them. That's what Iraq did. That's what Iraq did. Because the Kurds live. I showed you the petroleum belt. If you're a longtime member of the audience, you saw where I showed you the petroleum belt that runs through the northern Iraqi oil fields into Syria. That's where the Kurds live. So the Iraqis are like, oh, hell no, you're not going to get any autonomy. You're not going to get your own. That's our oil. You're not taking that, even though there are southern oil fields in Iraq. No, they want it all. And I was really concerned about the Kurds' future after the fighting was over. It appears Ahmed al-Shara has pretty much had enough. And I hope it continues, because one of the stories that I have for you today, and Raymond Weaver, thank you. There's a video going around on social media of Nancy Mace saying, F you to one of her constituents online, vote these people out. Yeah, these are not good people. They don't represent their districts. They're Republicans, and Republicans only. As we withdraw and leave a vacuum, Europe is stepping up. Europe, this is going to be Europe's century. This is going to be Europe's century. We're going to have so much work to do just to recover, and we're facing a financial crisis. It's going to take us probably 2 decades for America to recover. This is going to be Europe's century. And things like this, thank God they're doing things like this. Macron, you see here with El Sisi and King Hussein of Jordan. And I've told you, there's no such thing as a 2-state solution, because there is no Palestinian homeland that goes through the destruction of Israel. There isn't. It's going to require the Saudis. It's going to require Jordan. It's going to require Egypt. It's going to require everybody around carving out a viable nation for the Palestinian people. And Macron is doing the work. He is doing the work and making headway. So I want you to imagine what's going on in the Middle East. You have leaders like al-Shara in Syria who appears to be saying, look, we want peace and prosperity. This is a beautiful, historic part of everyone's culture. Folks, I don't care where you live, the Damascus is part of your history. And al-Shara seems to know that. Like I said, he seems to be cut from the same cloth as Salahuddin. I hope he does not disappoint me. And then you have Macron working with El-Sisi and doing the work that we should be doing, but we're just too lazy. And all Trump wants to do is fillet Netanyahu, who is the poison of peace. So yeah, this Easter, there are some good things happening. There are some good things happening. As an American, it may not feel like it because we're seeing ourselves diminished throughout the world. But with the Trump regime leading us, that's not necessarily a bad thing. So look, I want to take a moment to say thank you. One of my Canadian friends, I got down to the P.O. box, and you people are so generous. First of all, Jessica, I thank you for the picture before. That is a beautiful painting. I'm going to have it framed, and I've got a print that was sent to me also that is being unfurled so that I can take it down and have it framed. I've got the W.A. Slaughter Bluebonnets painting that y'all sent me. That was absolutely incredible. It's hanging right there. I look at it every day. But yeah, Marcia Klepper, I told you I was going to talk about you. This is the best, Marcia. This is incredible. I got the coffee and I got the cup. I did. This is incredible. Look at the, what a great shirt on 420. Am I right? Isn't that the best? Isn't that just incredible? I love that, Marcia. Thank you. That is something else. That's Marcia Klepper, by the way, folks. If you are in the audience, I did not get a name, but this is just amazing. I want to actually share the story of this family. I did not get a name to who sent me this. It was one of our Canadian friends. Sent me a collection of chocolates. I love this. Elbows up. A collection of chocolates. How generous. These are not cheap, folks. They are not. Just incredible collection. And let me turn them around so you can see them. Of boutique, we're talking about boutique grade chocolate here. But when I looked it up, if you're the one that sent them and you don't mind, say something in the chat. I would like to thank you personally. I didn't get the letter. You sent these directly from Peace by Chocolate, and I don't have your name to thank you personally. But this is Peace by Chocolate, by the way. This is a really, really amazing story. And this is why I held Syria from the last. This is Peace by Chocolate. It is in Antigonish, Nova Scotia. They are a Syrian family that during the 2012 civil war in Syria, their chocolate factory, they're famous chocolatiers from Syria. Their chocolate factory was destroyed. And they first fled to Lebanon as refugees and were invited by our Canadian friends to come move to Canada. And they settled in Antigonish. Am I pronouncing that correctly? I've never been there, Antigonish. But they just do amazing work. They do amazing work. But I want you to see this. This is Tariq Haddad. He's the CEO. His father was the one that started the company. And again, this is what I talk about when I talk about immigration. We are an aging people. We in America should be like the Canadians are. The Canadians just invited them, come live here. They've built a factory in Canada. They've got a storefront in Halifax that is really swanky. They're employing, they've got over 75 people working in their factory. Folks, from 2012 to 2015, they were refugees living in Lebanon. From 2015 to now, in the last decade, they have built a chocolate factory in Canada. Thank you, Edith. I appreciate you being here. They have become an integral part of the community. And they will tell you, Canada is their home. But this is Tariq Haddad. This was such a great story. I wanted to share this. And I didn't see, if somebody, honey, if you saw who took credit for that, please let me know. I didn't see it sharing thing. But this is from Peace by Chocolate. You can order from them online. But this is from our Canadian friends. This is Tariq Haddad.
I am originally from Damascus, which is the capital of Syria, and basically we lost everything in 2013 in the war there. From counting down to death there to being given another life here in this country, which was very heartwarming. So Peace by Chocolate started in the home kitchen when my father started making few pieces with my siblings. And then we moved out to a factory that was built by the community that welcomed us into the town. And it became really the success story that has been shared with all over Canada. Peace by Chocolate is an initiative before it became a company for building peace and supporting peace projects. Negative stories sells easy, intolerance sells easy, but really positive stories need to be worked on and shared as much as we can. And that's my mission right now. When I see the crowd is laughing and crying at the same time, that's exactly my mom. Since I landed in this country, I have been from coast to coast to coast, speaking to Canadians from all different companies, organizations, and charities. I've been speaking to the chambers of commerce, to universities, federal ministers, and members of parliaments who came to this country to understand why Canada is so successful by bringing people in. Here is an example about how kindness is a key for integration, how love is the answer and hate is the cancer.
Sorry, muted. Isn't that a great story? I didn't want me slurping coffee over the video, so yeah, I muted myself. Sorry. But that's what it's all about, folks. That's what we're denying ourselves. We're letting the bigots in this country and their hate deny us story after story after story. That's what it should be all about. And there are folks down here in Texas. You're blessed to come up. If you're especially in South and Central Texas, Hispanic culture is part of your culture. I don't care if you're white or not. It just is. If you're born and raised down here, it is part of your culture. And these people come into this country and they work so hard and they bring amazing food and amazing music. We're better off for it. Yes, there's going to be complications. There are. That's life, my friend. Even if you bigots got your entire all-white community bullshit that you want, you think there won't be complications? You think these meth heads that are running around here aren't still going to be a problem? Come on. All you're doing is you're robbing yourself. And our Canadian friends know that. I will tell you, one of the best conversations I have ever had, just impromptu conversations, was when Mrs. Texas Paul and I were up in Canada. And we stopped off at the Niagara Falls, and there was a big fire. It was 4th of July. There was a fireworks display, and and I will tell you, folks, if you ever go to Niagara Falls, don't go to the American side. Go to the Canadian side. It is so clean, and the people are so polite. There's no graffiti. The gardens are tended. It is night and day between the American side and the Canadian side. But I met a Sikh fellow, and we just struck up a conversation, and he was telling me about his life and how they decided that they wanted to live the remainder of their. He worked in many places throughout the Middle East, and then had immigrated to the United States and immigrated to Canada, and they were in Canada to stay because of the community, because of the people. And this man was an executive. I'm talking about an executive level manager. And we talked for about 2 hours. It was great conversation. But I have to tell you, that's what we're robbing ourselves from. Marcia, I saw that shirt and first thought, Marcia, I got the coffee and I got the cup and everything also. I did. I want to talk to you more about that. So if you would just email me, I want to talk about that. Thank you for being so generous, Marcia. Thank you. But yeah, I mean, what an amazing story, right? And also, I wanted to thank you for this, Martha. Martha, I know you didn't give me permission, so if you'd like to take credit, I'm just going to use your first name. If you'd like to take credit, put it in. Longtime listener, was so generous and sent me this gift, and I wanted to take Easter to just take some thank yous. Look at this. This is amazing. This is from the date lady. This is incredible. She sent me a whole care package. This is date syrup. This date syrup. And this is what I love. This is what I love. And no, I haven't opened it and tried it yet. Date barbecue sauce. I'm dying to try this. I'm dying to try this. Yeah. It actually came with 2 date syrups, a big one and a small one. And this one is really sweet chili sauce. Date sweet chili sauce. Isn't that incredible? This was so generous of you. It was. I actually, because I wanted to do some research on the background of this company. And again, another amazing story of entrepreneurship. And then date chocolate spread. Tell me that doesn't sound freaking amazing. I cannot wait to dig into these. That was so generous of you. I mean, so generous of you. And of course, it came with a box of fresh dates. That was so generous of you. I know how much that cost, Martha. Y'all would never be able to guess how much this package cost. But this company, another amazing story. This is the date lady. And I know it's Easter and I won't keep you much longer. But this is Colleen Sundley is the date lady. She was working for an ad company, and her husband was a professor. And they knew nothing about dates. They knew nothing about the community or anything like that. He was given the opportunity of a lifetime. Again, talking about brain drain. He was offered a job teaching in the United Arab Emirates for way more than he was making here in the States. And they were young. They wanted to, and we're talking about a quarter century ago this happened. So he took the job. She quit her job with the ad agency, and they moved to the United Arab Emirates, where he was offered a job. And they lived there. And, of course, when you move to another nation, there's a cultural change. There's a cultural, adaptation. One of the things that she fell in love with was the food. And dates are absolutely hugely central to food. 95% of all dates are grown in the Middle Eastern region. And it is just a huge, and if you don't know this, a lot of Middle Eastern cultures, they've got sweet tooths. And I'm talking all the way up, from not just, you know, Iran or Iraq, Mesopotamia. I'm talking all the way up into Turkey, into the Turkish delight, baklava, huge sweet tooth. Um, and dates are just a huge portion of that. And she just fell in love with them. She just fell in love with them. And when they moved back, uh, it's one of the things she missed because let's face it, most Americans haven't even tried a date. They don't know how delicious they are. And they are. They're freaking delicious. And by the way, if you're diabetic, there's something about the type of sugar in a date that will actually, it helps your blood sugar. It's kind of like when you eat something that's got soluble fiber in it, how it will prevent you from, hi guys, oh, the family's here. When you my granddaughter just brought me coffee. When you eat something with soluble fiber, it slows down the rate at which you absorb sugar. The sugar inside dates do the exact same thing. And in fact, they're working on a sugar substitute, a 0-calorie sugar substitute based on dates. But she just fell in love with the food, the culture, and brought it back with her. And when she came back, she's like, well, I need a job. So they started the company. And you can get all kinds of, not cheap, Martha. I'm telling you, I cannot tell you how touched I was by your generosity, but amazing. I cannot wait to dig into this stuff. The dates were incredible. Oh my God. Different varieties of dates than you like. If you go to an American store, 90% of the time you're going to see medjool dates, which are delicious. She sent me some that were just a different variety. It's incredible. I can't rave about it enough. I can't. Red Freckles. I watched Joan Baez and Neil Young singing at Fight Oligarchy and just wept. That is how we truly believed once upon a time. Thank you, Paul. They failed. They failed. They wanted to destroy that about us. They wanted to make us a bigot nation, and they failed. Even the Supreme Court, the majority of which wants to pander to these right-wing assholes, understand the danger. Keep it up, folks. Keep it up. If you keep fighting, you keep protesting, you keep up the good fight, we will be okay. We will. Thank you for being patient with me. I just wanted to take a second to say thank you. Absolutely failing bigly, because I don't know. This is easy forgive me. This is easy for people to understand. This isn't complicated. People get this. People understand. Even if you don't agree with Democrats, you cannot just shred the rule of law. There are enough of us that understand. Well, folks, that's what I have for you today. And like I said, the family's shown up. It's time for Easter. And Mrs. Texas Paul, while I've been here doing this, has been in there doing everything for the family. I hope y'all have a wonderful Easter. I do. I hope y'all have a wonderful Easter. Enjoy. And Sharon Reddy, they never reconstructed this hippie either. There you go. Stay at it, folks. Stay at it. And enjoy some Texas cities at night.